Yeah. 1, 2. All right. Hello. We're on the air, I think. I hope. Okay. We have in the audience our beloved, very own, Moshiach, a doctor. Not just Reb Moshiach, Dr. Moshiach. Okay, what's going on? All right. So I'm going to try and finish up the sikha about the idea of man being created in God's image, and this is volume 15, and this is going to be like a mini shir because we only have 15 minutes before Marv, yeah, I want to dedicate this to Elias and Neshama, the Yilin Neshama of Rav Yaina Afton, who passed away yesterday. Even though I only knew him casually, but his list of schusim of merits is enormous. He's responsible for sikhs in English, other activities. He was a shadchan extraordinaire, and it's a tragic and untimely loss. And the Shom Shava, the highest aliyah possible, to be back down in the guf gashmi, in the physical body. Amen. Immediately. Amen. All right, let's go. All right. So we were talking about the different, the two different types of what? Of Tzelem Elokim, right? There's a Tzelem Elokim that applies to the Bnei Noach, the non-Jewish people, and there's a Tzelem Elokim that has to do with Eden. So we're going to continue. We can understand what was previously discussed, a statement by the previous rabbi, as Chaviv Adam Shenivra B'Tzelem meant the Nefesh HaSichlis Shebiklalis Min HaNushah. So that idea that the Tzelem Elokim, right, the God's image, that's a reference to the intellectual soul that is common to both Jews and the non-Jews, albeit on different levels. So that's common. That's a commonality. Yeah. Main nefesh hasichlis, mina nushi of all humankind, und hiba yesera no das shenivra b'tzelem. But the second statement in the Mishnah, that an additional measure was given, was made known to man, that refers to the Eden, to the Jewish people. Gate oiv the nefesh hasichlis shel Bnei Yisrael is merumas in the Mishnah, and this is what is indicated in the Mishnah. So again, this additional measure of godliness has to do with Eden. Chaviv Adam Shenivra B'Tzelem meant as the Chavivus Adam b'shteit in them was Nivra B'Tzelem. So the Chaviv was the I mean, I guess you could say preciousness of or dearness of a human being is because they're created in the image of God. They're not an animal, they're not a tomato, they're not an insect. They're a human being. Right, and they have their commandments. This is a higher type of affection, of love. The chiba asmis. This is this affection itself. It's not a reflection of that affection as it applies to Bnei Noach. It's the affection itself. Because of that love, that the essence of that affection. That's why it's given. Der nivra b'tzelem as a tetzor from der chiba yisera. So that additional measure of affection that you didn't have, that stems from the very essence of that whole idea of affection. Yeah, and here in the Mishnah, it's referred to as this additional measure of affection. Und das ist der Chiluk zwischen Tzelem von der Ben Noach und Tzelem von der Yid. And this is the difference between the image of a Ben Noach and the image of a Yid, as it applies to their intellectual soul. Baya Ben Noach is an chavivus mitzam nefesh hasichlis shiboy. When it comes to Ben Noach, his or her preciousness, is because they're created in God's image. And again, it's reference to their intellectual soul. Die Chavivus von Aiden, welche ist verbunden mit Tzelem Shiboy, is, weil is Chaviv hat man ihm gegeben dem Tzelem. But when it comes to a Yid, it's the opposite. The reason they're created in the image of God is because they're precious.
Because of what?
Because they're precious, they're beloved, Yidden.
Preface?
Precious, dear. Whereas with Bnei Noach is because they're humans that they get you get a difference. It's not it looks the same, but it's not. In other words, the measure of affection that they get is because they're humans. And okay, so you're human. I'm going to endow you with this and that. But because Yidden are on a totally different level, that's why they're endowed. They're created they're given. They're created in that image. Okay. Mitzad them was is a Yid, only because it's a Yid, and she qualifies to be endowed with that extra measure of whatever that is. This additional measure of affection was made known to them. Biz us to the extent sheniver b'tzelem, because they're precious, they're created in the image. You get it? But with Bnei Noach is because they're human that they're created. That's a key difference. The River, therefore, is as a Nivra B'Tzelem, had mit ihm gegeben the Zayin Nefesh HaSichlis, and because of that, they got this intellectual soul. Und Dafka Dan is the Schar for Nefesh HaSichlis Bishlimus, and only there and then is this completely expressed, the prize, the reward. Und das ist euch die Asbora in der Halacha Kanal von Ram. This is the explanation of Rambam's Halacha. As a Yid darf koifa sein, kol boy oil mikal mitzvah shenitzu b'nei Noach. That Yid must compel all of mankind to do their mitzvahs, the Zion mitzvahs, as a preparation for Moshiach. Not just that, but that's the idea here. Kidei as the avoida from a Ben Noach b'kiyum hamitzvah shelo zol zayin kedeboy, so that their not completion, their performance of their commandments should be as it's supposed to be. Kemen zich nicht verlosen oiv akor adas. They cannot rely on their own understanding and knowledge. They can't. Because zayin nefesh hasichlis kenim derfieren zu gasus, because as was explained before, the level of their nefesh hasichlis can lead them to a state of arrogance, of self-centeredness, and they're just not. In other words, they can't reach that level where they're keli, they're a vessel. You got it? Yes or no? Maybe. Okay. Yeah. Nor es es darf sein verbunden mit Yidden. It's very emphatic language. Rabbi says they need to be connected with the Yid to realize their potential, which is great, without a doubt. I mean, it's a human being with great potential. But in order for that potential to be realized, to be brought to the fore, they need to be connected with the Yid. Bishaz der never sichtlich von Ben Noach wird angerufen angeführt von den Yidden. When that when a Ben Noach and his his intellectual soul is guided by Yid, by a Jew, what Zayin Salem is Bishlemus, because his Salem is Nefesh HaSichlis is complete, right? What happens? That oig der Ben Noach is a motzah von Ruach Odam Oili Hi Limala. It allows for the perfection of the Ben Noach. In other words, a Ben Noach, without the Yid's help, is unable to achieve that status that he's entitled to. That otherwise.
This is in Yiddish?
It's in Yiddish, yeah. Almost done. Und der Fav is negated in dem Chaviv Adam Shenivra B'Tzelem. Euch das was Hiba Yisera no das loy. So Eden, and again, it's Eden have an extra measure of this affection. Shenivra B'Tzelem. While because a Ben Noach darf wissen, again, it's very emphatic that a Ben Noach, every non-Jew must know, as the shlemus von Zayin Salem. In other words, you walk up to the guy, you tell you want to be a perfected, a complete guy. I don't know, a complete Ben Noach, yeah. Is obhängig, depends in dem Salem von Eden. He depends on the Jew. In other words, he himself he needs a guide. He needs a mentor in that sense. In other words, this is how by design. This is how it's designed. And this is how it's the only way that it can come down.
The congregation of Noachide, they need a rabbi, I guess.
Yeah, at least
They
one.
need a Jew.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
need-
yeah. Well, yeah, a Jew that knows what he's talking about. At the very least. But as an idea, yeah, they need to be guided.
I think there are a few kahilas.
And the South, I
In the
heard,
South,
Tennessee, Kentucky, yeah, the Bible Belt.
Bible Belt.
The
right?
Bible, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And this is the buckle. All right. Und wie bad, as der Zählem, as der Bnei Noach, Bnei Israel is a misuv der Fun was hot a nefesh alkis. But because not only that, the nefesh sichlis, the intellectual soul of a yid, is guided, is moderated by his divine soul, which a Ben Noach doesn't have, right? Paul die Siba in dem Misuv ein von ihre angeschaffen dem Teva Habitu in Nefesh Sichlis. So because a Yid's intellectual soul is not superseded, supplanted maybe, or guided, let's say, or influenced by his divine soul, right? Two things happen. First of all, he has a connection to Gedlichkeit, to something that's way above him, and he's able to control, to whatever extent, he's better equipped to control his emotions, and he's able to serve as a guide to Bnei Noach. The Rebbe, therefore, is the Shleimus Havoida von der Ben Noach was bring him rein in Zug von Chassidei Umas Ha'olam. So there's two types of Ben Noach. There's a Ben Noach, but a Ben Noach that's the Seven Commandments, with the knowledge that were given by Moshe on Sinai, and not for any other logical considerations. That's called a Chassidei Umas Ha'olam, a pious to the nations, and it's a huge level. Yeah. Verbunden damit wird tot seine Mitzvah, huh?
The first one just happened to be a Ben Noach. He just happened to keep the.
Well, anybody that's not Jewish not a Jew is a Ben Noach.
No, you said there's two levels of Ben Noach.
Right, there's a Ben Noach that's like a stam.
Stop, like maybe he's not deliberately doing. Maybe he just happens.
Right, he happens to be a nice person.
Happens to be doing the seven. He just
Right. But because they understand, they can relate to them logically or intellectually. It makes sense. It speaks to them. But that's not the level that's ideal. Ideally, they should be doing that because God said so, and he said it to Moshe, and Moshe gave it over to the Jews, and the Jews are supposed to teach them. While at Siva Bahem HaKodesh Baruch Hu B'Torah, v'Gadian al Yedei Moshe Rabbeinu Al Shalom. God said this to Moshe, and Moshe gave it to us, and so forth. As tut zij als toitzo von dem Gilui von Matan Torah. So ideally, in order to achieve the status of a Chassid Umas Ha'olam, they have to do this because this was communicated at Mount Sinai, and for no other reason. Mesorah, exactly. When Eden haben bekommen Chavivus Asmis, this is when Eden received this extra measure of Chavivus. Okay. Al Bekanal, we can understand this one point that was mentioned earlier. Mishatefes von dem Koffer Loshon Hamishna in the Eshter Boa, the double expression of different types of affection. Oich in the Tzivu Tzvei Bovas and also in the statements of the previous Rebbe. The Kofar Loshen should be called Bova, the double expression in mentioned previously. This type of affection, this additional type of affection, as those gate oif tzvei bazundre madregas. This applies to two different levels. Chaviv in Israel, Chiba Yisera, Nodas Lahem, the beloved Israel Jews who received this additional measure. Gate oif. Gufan Shul Yisrael. This goes on their bodies. Yeah, you with me? That goes on their bodies. This additional measure of affection. Upon. Yeah. Never shall kisu umale neshama. When Choy Yisrael Chibo Yisera and the Das Lechem, and this additional measure was made known to them. Gate oiv Galia Shebetoira Pnimis Torah. This also applies to the revealed part of Torah and the hidden and the nister. Oich in them is the kavana. This is also the intent. As Chaviv Yisrael is opening in them Chiba Yisera Nadas Lehem. This is the reason that this additional measure was given to them, and it depends on them. The Chavivus from Gufa Yisrael, the affection that God has for the body, the Gashmis of a Yid, hand up from Milas and Neshama, stems from the advantages, the Milas of a Jew's Neshama. Vigered Amal Be'aruch, as has been explained previously, as the Bchira, the choice that God made when He picked Eden, in them Guf von der Eden, in Nikavi in Guf, Yipniyose during the Avodas Neshama. This the reason that God picked us and not anybody else, because of the special Neshama, or the Neshama that was going to be given. Weiter. There's been a Galia Shebetori, and based on that, when it comes to the review part of Torah, when Pnimis Torah and the hidden parts of Torah, Mishas Memmed Galia Shebetori, as is do Oich Pnimis Torah, when we learn the revealed and the hidden parts of the Torah, is the Limut Anigla Nasis Loy Samchaim. This the combined learnings, teachings of the hidden and the revealed becomes a samchaim, a drug of life.
Becomes sometimes a what?
Not a drug. That's a purchase of words. Sam, like summon, like an essence of life, right? Ah. Yeah. All right, we did it. How do you like that?
Whoa.
Okay, Yashir Kayev. All right, thank you. And to be continued and. Reb Moshe, the doctor Moshe. Okay, all right. Have a good night.